it was March of 2020 and COVID struck. And they decided to send all the college students home. So she came home and told me that she was about to look for an apartment and sign a lease, and she wanted to know if I would be a part of it. And I said, no, I don't sign leases. I create leases. And she said, what, Mom? I said, I'm not signing anything. I said, if you want someplace to live here where you go sign a lease, you go sign your own name and do your own thing. I said, if you want me to be a part of it, you're going to have to own something. And she was like, Mom, I don't want to do that. And I was like, okay, do what you need to do. So there was someone that I knew who helped me fix things when I really, really needed him. And he had a property, and it was in a tougher area. But the family he had rented to was, basically out of the house, and they had turned it over to somebody that was a little bit tougher than he was. And so he was intimidated by the whole situation. And he's like, Miss Wendy, I don't want it no more. I don't want this house. You can buy it. And I said, no, that house is for you. That's for your kids. That's for your family. Don't sell it. We'll get those people out that are not supposed to be there, that are, squatting, and you can rent it to a family. No, Miss Wendy, I don't want nothing to do with it. I just, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I just let it go. So the next thing you know, I go and meet with him to fix something, and he says that he's in contract on that house for $80,000, and that the realtor that he went to said, no, I'm not gonna list it for you, I'll buy it from you myself, because he was selling it like $50,000 undervalued. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I was so hurt. And, I learned a lesson, which is you have to listen to people when they're in distress. You can't just keep coming with all no, you keep it, it's for your children and your children. You can't always do that. Sometimes people need to sell something. And so I just dealt with that, and I was like, man, I wish I had gotten that house. That was such a beautiful house with hardwood floors and just, all the old stuff from the 1940s for that house. And, I was so kind of disappointed in myself because I didn't listen. And that's one of the things I pride myself on, is listening. So I meet him again about 2 weeks later, and I'm over it, kind of. But I go meet him again, and he says that they countered him. I said, they countered you? He said, yeah. They said they didn't want to pay me the 80, they wanted to pay 75,000. I said, if they countered you, that means you're out of the deal. You're free. You can do anything you want. Once they counter you, then all bets are off. You can say yes or no, or walk away. And he's like, really? I said, yeah. He said, well, do you want to buy it then? I said, yes. Let me write you a check right now. And so I was like, oh wow, okay, yes, I do want to buy it from you. I do. I'm listening now. I'm listening. And I was so happy to have that second chance. I cannot tell you, life is about a lot of second chances, but I was so happy to have that second chance. So I told a relative about it, and I said, hey, I have this opportunity to buy a house. I said, if you can loan me $50,000, you can mortgage one of the other properties. And so if anything happens to me, you'll definitely get paid back. You'll be the first position on that property. And he's like, well, he said, you always, been upfront about everything. I trust you. It'll help me. I'll make 10% on my money. So he gave me a loan for $50,000. And I gotta look at where I got the other 30,000 from. I don't really remember. I gotta look it up. Okay, but so all together we put money down on this house, and got over there and you know, started working on the house. And it's in a what some people would consider a tougher area of Columbus. And it's all areas that I used to live in because we used to move so much. So it didn't matter to me. I was thrilled. I was beyond thrilled because I knew how valuable that house was. And so I'm over there fixing it up. My daughter comes back from wherever she was at the time. My daughter comes over, and one of her friends is in town, and they walk through the house, and it's kind of gotten a little further along, and it's starting to look pretty decent, not like crazy bling like they have on all these videos, just a decent home. And so her friend walks through, and her friend says, "Catherine, you mean to tell me that you don't want to buy this house? Are you stupid? Do you know how much weed we can smoke in this house?" And I was like, oh man, weed. It's like, oh gosh, don't take more drive away from these kids. But anyway, so that tip turned a different direction. Everything that I said didn't work, but when her friend said something, she was like, "Really? Is this is a thing? Okay, I thought it was just some of my mom's little houses that she, you know, didn't want anything to do with." So she said yes, she wanted to buy it, and she had been working. She had been working at Starbucks for years. She had been working since she was like 16 or something like that. She had been working there, so she had her, you know, her tax returns, because I always had her do her own tax returns, even though it was not to my benefit. But I had her do her own tax returns, and she had her W-2s, and she had good credit because we had always worked on that. And of course, she had a mom investor. I get that. I get it. So she was able to get the loan, and I kept fixing it up. So what I did was give her a gift of equity. So I sold her the house for $130,000. I gave her a $30,000 gift of equity. So she came to the closing table having to pay about $500 out of pocket. And the other $500 that was spent on her behalf, that I spent, was for the inspection. So from her end, sort of, it was like $1,000 to get into this house. So she moved into the house. She had 2 roommates, and they lived there for about 2 years. And then after that kind of went whatever way, she moved out of it, and she wanted to turn it into a long-term rental. And I was like, Airbnb is hot, you should do. She was like, Mom, you've been talking about affordable housing all my life. I want to rent to a family. I want to rent to a family. So she vetted families, interviewed families, showed the house, and she found a family that was a good fit for her. And they have been there for 3 years, since 2022. And she makes about $600 a month from maybe $500 a month since the taxes have gone up. And she's a baby home buyer, and she loves it, and she wants to buy another one. So we are looking at how she can do that. And it means so much to me, because I want her to understand this business. A lot of times, you know, parents pass away, and when the young people don't have the experience and the learning, the first thing they do with the property is they sell it. You know, they sell off their inheritance. So we want to make sure that she has the opportunity and the education and the knowledge to just keep going into the next generation if she so chooses. So that's my first baby home buyer. Maybe not really the first, it's just my personal baby home buyer, because I've been preaching about home buying for so long. I've been on my soapbox because I really believe that it changes lives. It changes health trajectories. It gives you a little piece of this American pie, so you can you know, work out your American dream. And it's critical. It matters. All right. So thanks for listening. It is always an honor, privilege, and pleasure to speak with you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So total cost for this home was $120K. Sold it to my daughter for $104K, costing me a total of $16K to flip this house to my baby. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and please share it if it will help someone that you love.